Today, let's fix up that clutch cable on the NX. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project NX2K. That is our 1993 Nissan NX2000. Today we're going to remedy, or attempt to remedy, an issue I've had since day one with this car, a horrible feeling clutch pedal. Now in these Nissan NX2000s and a lot of the other Nissan products at the time, they don't use a hydraulic system which you find in most cars. This one has an actual clutch cable, a physical cable running from your clutch pedal to the top of the transmission. Now there could be all kinds of issues with that. It could be bound up, it could be crusty inside, something could have come loose, and you can have all kinds of issues from your clutch pedal not engaging all the way. You can have it so it just feels absolutely miserable, which mine does. It's seriously like pushing through like some thick concrete mix. It just doesn't feel good at all. You can't modulate the clutch. And today, I'm gonna show you guys how to take care of that, repair that clutch cable. Obviously, sometimes the clutch cable can't be repaired and you need to actually replace it, and this will still be helpful because it'll show you how to uncover it, which is more than half the battle, to be honest. But let's get under that hood and take everything out to show you guys how to repair your clutch cable. Let's get in the garage, get a little dirty. It's time to address something that's really been bothering me with the NX, and that's the clutch pedal feel. Manuals are amazing, but bad feeling manuals, whether it be the shifter feel or the clutch feel, detract from the experience. So this clutch pedal here, yeah, it's horrible. It's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like taking a stick and stirring it around in some like heavy set mortar or concrete, and that's not gonna work. The NX does not use a hydraulic clutch system, guys. It uses a clutch cable, and here's our replacement unit. This is what they look like. So they obviously have an attachment that goes under the clutch pedal and one that goes underneath and hooks to your transmission. I have never replaced these on a car before, so this is a first time experience for me, and we're gonna learn together. I heard it's pretty tough to do, but basically what happens is these stretch. It is a cable, a mechanical cable. It can stretch over time. It can get bound up, cause all kinds of things from the clutch pedal not activating all the way, or being able to manipulate the clutch, or binding up and making it feel the way it does in mine. So I'm hoping replacing this is the fix. So let me show you guys how we're gonna do that. In the under the hood department, we gotta remove some things. Batteries gotta come out, air box has to come out, and we might have to move that fuse box and a couple other things around. That clutch cable comes in through the firewall and goes right into the top of the transmission. So we have to have accessibility to that. I don't think I have to have the car off the air for this one. I think it's actually gonna be easier with it on the ground, so we'll just keep it like that. But we're gonna pull these items out at this time. Battery out. Let's get this battery tray and all that good stuff out of the way. It does look like it holds this fuse box up, so I'm gonna see about removing that, get some more space going here. I'm gonna take off this little airbox breather hose because I reckon that's gonna be right where I need to go. A little bit of PB blaster on these guys. Whenever I see crust, a low-lying place where stuff can sit too long, I like to hit that. Again, I've been recording with the camera off. I'm starting to pull these crusty bolts out of the battery tray. I already loosened the 10mm nuts holding this fuse panel on, so we'll be able to slide that out and separate it from this battery tray. Again, don't get too worried about the amount of crust in a battery tray. A lot of it's surface corrosion. I can clean it up, sand it down, prime and paint. But just the way these things are located on these older cars tends to be a low spot that's flat. Water gets down there. It's really hard for it to drain. So over time it does build up a little corrosion. You just want to make sure you're not breaking this hardware off because, you know, these bolts that are sitting in these low spots, they can get pretty crusty and not much force can break them off. They're not very strong. But there's all four of those, and as you can see, the hardware itself's pretty dang crusty. So, of course, I'll clean those up before I put them back in. Okay, let's see if our tray is actually loose. Could be kind of stuck down to the car. Okay, cool. So we're gonna pull our fuse panel up and out.
Looks like there is a clip holding right here. Looks like a little, get some pliers. And then we should be able to lift our battery tray. What do we got connected? Another clip on the bottom of the battery tray, interesting. So just use pliers, push that together while you're pulling it out the other end. There you go. And there's our little bit of crust on our battery tray. We'll clean that up, don't worry. The good thing is underneath I don't see any rust on the actual body. Couple old leaves, but dry as a bone down there, so awesome. That's going to give us that little bit. You can start to see the mechanism, and I'll get a light in there where that clutch cable connects to the transmission, especially when I start pulling all this kind of stuff out. Of course, we'll get some bungee cords going here in a moment, but you can see right there, we'll pull all these up and out of there. But time to get that air box out of the way too. Yeah, that's going to give us a little more access, so let's do that as well. We've already done a new air filter, but we can pop this part open again. Yep, because that's how you get those bolts under there. Pull our air filter out, make sure it's still doing okay. Still looking brand new, of course. Just take your time with this, guys. You can label as you go too if you don't want to be confused when you're having to put all this back together at a later date. There we go, top of the air box out. There's those 3 10mm screws / bolts. Bottom of the air box removed. Looks like we got some more bracket action connecting to this little part of the air tube here. There's that air box that was sitting down in there. I don't think I need to pull the intake back any further, to tell you the truth. Look, I am going to take this bracket off for sure though. I'm going to do some cleaning while I'm down here too, guys. It's kind of driving me nuts how dirty it is. It's just over time. It's nothing bad, nothing bad. There's actually a little chassis ground where the negative battery terminal part goes, so we can pull that up. Give a little more flexibility to these wires for sure. Not a bad idea to clean those grounds up too. You know, when you get a little bit of that surface corrosion, it doesn't take much to impact those grounds, so. All right, using some pliers, I got these wires off of this little bracket here. So we're moving stuff around here. This is good. There's one of those bolts out. Is it just me, guys, or do you get a lot of stuff off the car and sometimes step back and say, boy, I hope I can get that all back together? Might be a condition I have. I mean, I'll figure it out, but you know, you see how much stuff's come off sometimes, you stand back and. Second bolt out. We have some really good accessibility now. Boy, we're gonna have to do some cleaning. Let me take you guys in and show you what I'm working on. With everything off the car, there is our shifter cable. You can see where it hooks to the transmission. And boy, it's pretty disgusting down there. We gotta clean that up. But let me examine that shifter cable. It runs all the way back up, right by the brake booster, and that's where it kind of goes through the firewall. Again, never did one of these before, so we gotta figure that out. But we have access to it now. Let me check it out and see what we need to do to get that out of there and get our new one in. I noticed a couple things on mine. This is the kind of locking bolt when you're going to adjust the shifter cable, and this was all the way out here, not tightened down, all the way down on a thread, so that's not very good. Also, I don't know if you can pick it up, but I sprayed some silicone lube up in there, and it's really rusty and crusty up in the cable, and I think that might have caused it to feel like that. So I don't even know if I need to replace this cable. Let me spray some more lube up there, mess around with this adjustment here, because you can loosen the locking nut here, and you can spin this with your thumb while holding on up here and adjust how the clutch should feel. So let me go ahead and mess around with it a little more and see if we can get out of having to replace this. You can see all the crusty rust water there when I sprayed the silicone up, and you can see it inside the boot too. So yeah, wow, that's, I'm gonna keep flushing that out with some WD-40 and some silicone lube and clean that up. That might have been where it was catching and giving me that really bad feeling at the pedal. And then again, we'll keep adjusting this. Man, we might be able to fix this without replacing the part. Gotta love those jobs. It freaking feels perfect. All I did was keep cleaning it out, spraying lube up there. I might actually put some grease in there too. But in tightening, I think the big thing was tightening that locking bolt that had come loose. But guys, the pedal feel. Let me show you. This pedal was so hard to press down with my hand. It was really offering up a ton of resistance, but watch now. What? And I can slowly bring it back. Before there was no play, it was an on-off switch. What? I'm so freaking pumped. So there we have it. All I had to do was tighten that locking nut, lubricate the actual shifter cable, and my clutch pedal feels absolutely fantastic. Now, there are issues. These things can stretch out, become totally rusted shut, and you should replace them. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm glad I have that spare just in case, you know, further down the line I need to replace it. But right now, this feels like a whole new car. I'm so shocked. So there you go. Clear yourself the space, get all this stuff out of here so you can see right down on this. Check all your stuff out. And also, if you don't like how your clutch feels, your pickup points, you can just loosen this locking nut and simply spin this wheel by hand. And you use this flat part of the thing right here to put, I used a pair of locking vice grips on, and go ahead and just set it and keep adjusting it and get it to where it feels good if you have a bad clutch pickup point. And that might fix it for you. That might do everything for you. You don't need to replace that cable. It certainly did it for mine. I'm so happy. I can't believe how loose that was. I don't know if that just came loose over time or whatnot, but that was creating that huge dead space followed by just absolutely, and I'm betting it's all the rust and corrosion, that clutch pedal feeling like I was pushing it through like thick concrete. Now, smooth as butter. I can modulate that clutch, which you need to do in first gear, you know, when you're crawling in traffic, or reverse. So, heck yeah, dude, awesome. All right, guys, glad I could share that with you, but pretty simple, straightforward there. Now to put all this fun stuff back in. Well, we got all the stuff removed. It'd be a shame not to clean around down here. You know we're gonna do it. Let's clean it up, guys. Who knew the transmission housing was actually metallic and not black? Cleaned up pretty good under here. Not perfect, you know. Nothing really is, but it looks a lot better. Time to put all those components back in, get this engine bay back together, but man, I'm so happy. Let's zoom in on that little clutch cable that made such a big difference. There it is. It's gonna be awesome driving this car now. What a huge change. All right, time to put her back together. We've got everything back in the engine bay, and that clutch pedal still feels excellent. The engine bay is looking pretty good, looking pretty factory under here, and I love that look. Of course there's some coilovers, and maybe we're gonna add something more up here, but this is looking right. This is exactly how I wanted this car to turn out, so